like a little feeling that like when I got up today, like I text me and my little cousins because I'm a senior, like they're like a little bit younger than me, so I text them and I was like, is anybody up? Who's going to school? Like, get up, let's go, we're going to school. No one responded, so I'm like, man, this is weird, like we never do this, like either like somebody's sick or like something's wrong. So I'm like,
what was worrying everybody? There have been some ominous threats posted in recent days. Is that right?
Yeah, that is right. That it is. I've been hearing the threats too, and it's like, you know, kids they play around and say, "Oh, we're gonna shoot up the school." Or this. You don't supposed to play around with that.
Right.
Like, this is serious. You can't do that. So I mean, like, it's a lot of stuff that's been going on. You know, this school it's been tragic, and it's like, I don't even know. It's just.
When you heard about what was going on at school today, you weren't there, but then you learned there's an active shooter. What was going through your mind?
My first thing when I got up, I put my shoes on, put my coat on, I told my mom, come on, let's go. I have a friend, he's more like my cousin. I think of him as my cousin. And I said, he's in there. He's the only one that went to school. And I need to get up there to get him out of that school because I don't want anything to happen to him.
Listening to Reset Race, you now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race, you're now tuned in to Reset Race. Put them back on the grill again, we grilling them. Put them back on the grill again, we grilling them. Put them back on the grill again, we grilling them. Back on the grill again, we grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. Ados need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake. Lineage go back to US Southern plantations. Penniage, Jim Crow, and mass incarceration. Redline and lynchings. We are old from this nation. You're not about justice if you ain't for reparations. MG the wise one, cousin mother intellectual. Samantha bringing fire, anti-black, we pressing you. No permanent friends and no permanent enemies. The backbone of the country, the win. You need our energy. You gon' see. Listening to Reset Race. You now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race. You're now tuned in to Reset Race. Put them back on the grill again, we grilling them. Put them back on the grill again, we grilling them. Put them back on the grill again, we grilling them. Back on the grill again, we grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. Ados need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake.
All right, let's get this bullshit going, y'all.
All right.
This is Kim Iverson.
Are we doing the intros or are we just going to tack one on?
Now, let's just go ahead and do the intro. I don't want to tackle on shit.
Go ahead, Sam. Continue to march. I'm just visiting.
Ready? Hi, and welcome to Reset Race. Yeah, it's a new year, and I just want y'all to understand that this year, 2022, I fucking choose violence.
Move aside, sir. Order your man to step aside or there will be violence.
I choose violence. Please tell His High Holiness he's always welcome to visit.
I just want y'all to know that. That's how we gonna start off. I choose violence. 100%. And I don't mean physical violence, but I am at war with you MFers. Like real shit, no chaser. So we're going to introduce everybody. Today we're doing an episode on good old racist ass Kim Iverson. Gotta love the anti-Black POCs. So everybody introduce themselves. MG, you can go since you finally came back to grace us with your presence.
Black folks. See how y'all at? Michael Graham, Active Right Press, the Reset Race. I'm just hanging out with the folks, the original crew back together again for 2022. So that's it from me. And I'm on Twitter, ActiveIMG_RR. I'm on there talking shit on occasion.
Go ahead, John.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's John C. I am the average American Negro, back with the fam. We about to go cook Kim Iverson. One of my favorites. You must have been cooked Kim Iverson a minute ago, but yeah, she went out the box with this one. So, always happy to be here. You can follow me on Twitter. I don't care, but back with the original team. Let's go get them. 2022.
She didn't get out the box. She stayed in her racist ass box. You up?
Yeah, they call me Mud. You can find me on my social media at Of Lineage. That's Twitter, Instagram, and Clubhouse. I am really not active on social media. I need to stop it all completely. But anyways, Bitter Dose TV coming soon. Let's get to it.
All righty. So I already said this is a Kim Iverson video. Kim Iverson has to get out here and protect the poor, underserved, disadvantaged white people. Not like they've burned down entire fucking towns and cities and lynched people and still fucking murder people. But hey, and I'm talking about like the police and these other people.
They didn't care. They killed us. I was about 8 years old.
Minnie Lee Langley was only a child when she became a refugee. Now, she's a great-grandmother. At her home in Jacksonville, Florida, we talked to her about the place where she was born, Rosewood, Florida, the place that haunts her memory.
I know they killed my aunt, and they killed my granddaddy. Made my granddaddy dug his hole. He didn't have but one arm, but they made him dug his own grave. And he prayed, and they shot him backwards in the grave.
At Rosewood?
At Rosewood.
So it is what it is, but, we shouldn't worry about historical shit and shit that keeps happening. And we should just pretend like the majority of school shooters aren't young white kids and what that means. But okay. Kim Iverson, liberal media fuels white terror narrative after Oxford High School shooter identified.
Kim, what's on your radar?
Well, the school shooter who killed 4 students and seriously wounded others in Detroit on Tuesday has been named. 15-year-old Ethan Crumbly used a semi-automatic pistol to do nothing short of hunt his peers. The 4 who have been tragically killed are 14-year-old Hannah St. Juliana, 16-year-old Tate Meyer, 17-year-olds Madison Baldwin and Justin Schilling. 6 other students and 1 teacher have been hospitalized with various gunshot wounds to the chest, legs, shoulders, hips, and even a couple of students who were shot in the neck and 1 in the jaw. The motive is unknown, but preliminary reports are that this is another case of a loner kid who kept to himself, was bitter towards his peers, or even possibly bullied by them. He wore all black, he played Minecraft, and the people who knew him, like his half-brother and other students, were shocked to discover he was the person behind these monstrous attacks. Crumbly is being charged as an adult. He is currently facing 4 counts of first-degree murder, 7 counts of assault with an intent to murder, 12 counts of possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony, and 1 count of terrorism causing death. And I want to take a moment and focus in on that last charge of terrorism, because it was, as we pointed out on the show yesterday, this shooting could be used as an opportunity to address some real issues our country is facing concerning gun laws, yet instead, this shooting is likely going to be used to politicize and demonize, quite frankly, white people and Trump supporters instead. Now, first of all, the charge of terrorism is no doubt going to be exploited all over the news and social media without any real explanation as to what the charge actually means. It often has nothing to do with what you and I associate terrorism with. A charge of terrorism often means you have caused people to feel terror that may leave them feeling paranoid and traumatized. County prosecutor Karen McDonald said this about the terrorism charge against Crumbly. What about all the children who ran screaming, hiding under desks? What about all the children at home who can't eat and can't sleep and can't imagine a world where they could ever step foot back in that school? The purpose of this particular charge is to bring justice to those who maybe weren't shot, but who are suffering emotional trauma from the events, people who are terrorized. It's not the same as domestic terrorism or foreign ISIS-style terrorism that requires a political motive. But my guess is we can expect this isn't going to be overtly explained in the news. They'll say he's been charged with terrorism, and rather than explain the nuance in the meaning, they will then turn the conversation towards the growing threat of domestic white terrorism in America and leave the audience to think this attack was motivated by Republicans who support Donald Trump. And why do I think this? Because it's already being done. Look at this tweet from Keith Olbermann. This kid died to stop a school shooter whose mother echoed the Trumpist fascism of Stool Presidente and Barstool Sports.
I wanted to stop a little bit early because, John, you had sent us something about terrorism, about different versions of it. You had sent us something in our little chat earlier.
Yes, it's different versions. Like basically the terrorism she's talking about is, usually we think terrorism has a political motive, but there's such things as non-political terrorism. And to me, it's like the fact that she's trying to kind of humanize this guy. You know what I mean? Like this shit is crazy, man. But yeah, that's not political terrorism what he's doing. I'm happy they should throw more. If they threw the book at, she crying, they threw the book at him, threw terrorism at him. I wish they would have threw the library. They threw the library at us.
Shooting up a school should get you or a charge of terrorism either fucking way. I don't go.
Yep.
What are we talking about? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
Okay, all right, nitpicking terrorism.
Yeah,
after you shot up a school.
She's trying to prove her value to white folks. I mean, that's what I hate to say it, but that's what they do. All right, everybody here but us is trying to prove their value to white supremacy, and that's what she's doing. It's what she does.
Well, John has sent us this thing. John, you blocked off the first part of this damn message, so I can't see what the number one part of types of terrorism. So I'll just start from, so it starts at 2, political terrorism and non-political terrorism is a terrorist act perpetrated by a group for any other purpose, most often religious nature, but doesn't have to be. The desired goal is something other than a political objective, but the tactics involved are the same. And then quasi-terrorism is a violent act that utilizes the same methods terrorists employ, but does not have the same motivating factors. Cases like this involve an armed criminal who is trying to escape from law enforcement, utilizing civilians as hostages to help them escape. The lawbreaker is acting in a similar manner. So how the fuck do you go into school and shoot up a bunch of kids, white kids at that? I know this is white on white crime, but you go in here and shoot up all these damn little kids, and that's not terrorism. How?
Safe to come out.
Yeah, he said it's safe to come out.
Now, we're not willing to take that risk right now. I can't hear you. We're not taking that risk right now. Okay, well, come to the door and look at my bag, bro.
No. Yeah, bro.
He said bro.
He said bro. Red flag.
Go.
Slow down, you're fine.
Slow down. I want you to drop backpacks. You're okay. We're okay. Drop your backpacks. Still. Christy? Yes. Thank you. Drop your backpack. It's a form of fucking terrorism. It's not political terrorism. And as for people talking about they're digging up what her mother's political views, who of y'all remember Harambe? That motherfucking big ass gorilla where that little boy fell in to the fucking the shit in the zoo and they had to put down the gorilla, and they dug up everything on his mama, his daddy, talk about why wasn't they watching him, and they was just mad that they had to shoot the gorilla.
An online petition, Justice for Harambe, calling for the mother to be prosecuted, has more than 300,000 signatures. Tens of thousands of people have taken to social media to demand she be investigated for child neglect.
So y'all sitting here talking about they're digging up their person. They dig up Black people's parent shit all the time. They dig up the parents, the kid. The only reason they dig up something on the kid is because the kid was like a child. She was like 5, 6. I don't remember exact age.
Yeah, he was young. Yeah, he fell out of stroller, so he was young.
Yeah, he was young. Because if he was old enough to have a picture, with a mean face, they would have put it up. But instead, they dug all of his parents' shit. So, like, why are you pretending like this doesn't happen all the time? Like, yes, it does matter what his parents' views are. Your parents raise you. So if you are a fucking homicidal maniac and go shoot up your school, maybe something's going on in your house, especially when you dig deeper into this case. Like, there was all kinds of disciplinary issues and the parents wasn't even giving a fuck. So this is why I don't do the POC shit. Kim Iverson's a POC. She's biracial. She's the Vietnamese one, right?
Her mother's a Vietnamese refugee from Vietnam
So she's
War.
a Vietnamese refugee.
Yeah, that's what her mom is.
Because her people came here because of a fucked up situation and needed help. And she's half white. And what she did with her being POC is sit and be an anti-Black racist. Why do I give a fuck about you people of color when this is how you roll? And if it does not apply, let it fly. But when Black men are out here being disrespectful and talk shit, when Black people were so-called beating up Asians, what were people saying to us? Y'all need to get y'all community in order. Y'all need to check Black men. Y'all need personal responsibility. Where are you motherfucking people who are first gens and immigrants who are saying to your immigrant people, you are fucking wrong?
Yeah, let me drop this in here. I've mentioned it before in other shows back in the day. I don't know when, but I've mentioned it before. I mean, we got to be real about what's likely the situation with Ken's family. I don't know for sure, but if they came here as refugees from the Vietnam War, more than likely they were helping the occupying force against their own people. Yeah. So, and they left because they would be killed, just like the Iraqis that have come here now. They left because they supported an occupying force in their country. If they don't give a fuck about their people,
they
definitely gonna give a shit about your people. Definitely not my people, our people.
In April of '75, North Vietnamese troops approached the southern capital of Saigon. President Gerald Ford ordered all U.S. troops and citizens out of the country.
Permit the movement of refugees to the area of their choice.
And on April 29th, Armed Forces Radio began playing White Christmas to signal an evacuation was underway.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
Captain Gerald Berry was assigned to rescue U.S. Ambassador Graham Martin. The mission evolved into an 18-hour day of shuttling people to an armada of ships waiting in the South China Sea. And as Berry flew toward the U.S. Embassy in Saigon, he could see enemy tanks approaching the city.
So I land behind the embassy, said, I'm here to get the ambassador. Because I'm thinking somebody told him I was coming to get him. Well, then somebody else gets on the phone and said, well, the ambassador isn't coming. I said, well, really? I said, I'm supposed to get him. Well, no, he's not. So take a lift of these. So they loaded Vietnamese on him.
In the early hours of April 30th, despite multiple flights with hundreds of evacuees and with time running out, Berry uttered 3 words that meant it was imperative for the U.S. diplomat to leave.
I'm not leaving the roof until the ambassador's on board. And out of nowhere, I said, the president sends. 2 minutes later, the ambassador's up with his whole staff to come out. That's all we needed. Probably needed, I could have said that at 12 in the afternoon. So he comes up, gets on, We fly out with the ambassador and you make the call, you know, tiger, 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 that means the ambassador's out.
Personally, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that the United States of America is being humiliated and is leaving an area that we had come to defend, and we've been defeated.
So we got to be honest about that, right? I'm not saying that she is responsible for what her parents did or did not do. If that is the case, I'm not sure, right? But these are the things we got to be real about, right? Because a lot of these folks with CIA and Department of Defense assets, they got snatched up when shit went foul, right? So we got to be careful who we cape for. But again, let's ride.
Wait, MG, are you saying that we can't just put some basic intersectional math into like equation into this? Like we actually have to think about this more deeply, that there might be more details to like all these people that are being labeled as oppressed and minorities, like they might not actually be oppressed?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guarantee you a whole bunch of these folks with these, they always talk about these big degrees, but got to be a cab driver. If you came from an oppressed society and you have a big degree, you were probably from the oppressor class. That's just real. That's just real, right? So you come here formerly of the oppressor class in your country, and shit got topsy turvy. The good guys won, so to speak. And now you got to run, right? So
I'm gonna go deeper, right?
Uh-oh.
No, I'm gonna go deeper because some people gonna be like, MG, you're fucked up. How dare you say this about refugees?
Nah, man, that's real shit.
Hey, let me go. Let me go.
You got
Thank you. Like, how you talking about refugees and how you saying, and Sam, how you gonna say people descend from traitors to their own country? Okay. China drops land tomorrow. They fucking infiltrate. They decide that they are starting a war. You decide that you are gonna side with China and start fighting against American citizens with the Chinese. If China loses, you gotta get the fuck up out the US, because if you stay, you're a fucking traitor and they're going to kill you. Why? Because you were a fucking traitor. Nobody's saying that Kim Iverson's people were a traitor. I'm not even saying all of you refugees are traitors, but some of y'all did some shit against your own fucking people. And we can sit here and be like, well, they helped the US. And we know that a lot of these wars are bullshit ass wars. They were not just, they were not righteous. So the people who turned on their own people are traitors to their people, whether you like it or not.
Facts.
So that's what I mean. So think about it like that. Think about it like that. You start fighting with the Chinese. If the Chinese ain't there, you a traitor. And if it all washes out, they gonna kill you, especially if you black, because they don't forgive black traitors, only white ones in this country.
Well, I mean, we don't even have to use that like, we could talk about like,
January 6th,
the Revolutionary War. Like, some motherfuckers sided with the British, and, some sided with the colonies. Like this is how that shit
ass back to Britain.
Exactly. So, I mean, that like, and even beyond that, I mean, what this really comes down to is like, I really don't give a fuck about, what happened in your old country. When you come here, I don't want you to be like labeled as if you're oppressed in the same way that I am, when we're not going to even have a detailed conversation about, what exactly your oppression might look like in your previous country, how you actually are faring in this country, because we don't really have detailed conversations about any of this stuff. But somehow you're equated to, the people in this country who have been on the bottom and have been disenfranchised from the very beginning and beyond the beginning of this country.
Disenfranchised by this country, not another country.
Yeah, disenfranchised. Yeah, all of this is about how this plays out in American society. And what happens is that this people of color label gets thrown around in a vague way, and everyone gets grouped in as if they have the same situation, they have the same oppression, and we need to break this shit up.
Yep, equivalence of oppression. That was the whole thing about POC and BIPOC, was to bury our oppression and
With the Baki case.
and make everybody equal to us. That's all this was about.
Yep.
So people have no problem with people. Obviously, people have no problem with us not being served. All right, without us being about us not being served specifically. All right. So this whole POC thing and BIPOC thing, it was completely fabricated to give people an out without trying to address our needs as a specific group. And people took it because people fucking suck.